Hello, YouTube. Blaze Templar here with Week 5's not draft analysis. We're not actually trading around right now, it sounds like. But Week 5's team analysis. And just as a quick reflection, Week 4 was absolutely huge. The top team did slip to the second place slot. Cleveland crawled up to the third place slot, and Nebraska, who was in second, slipped up to first. In the lower groupings, California climbed up to fourth, so the top half anyway. There was some more movement. Chicago unfortunately slipped or stayed in the seventh place position, while Colorado managed to slip up to sixth from seventh. Wait, no, Chicago was sixth. Yeah, Chicago was sixth, and unfortunately slipped down because of Colorado's win, and Colorado managed to slip up to the sixth place position. Dallas unfortunately fell a little bit. I think they were fourth before the week was going, and unfortunately now they're fifth. Eighth position has not changed. It's just been secured by New England, while seventh is unfortunately Chicago. So, now that being said, what's so important about Week 5? Well, on the lower tiers, or the lower brackets, I shouldn't say tiers, because honestly, we're not even nearly close enough to the end to say who's gonna come out on top or who's on bottom. But regardless, on the lower current brackets, there we go. I'm going to try to use that terminology. On the lower current brackets, not a lot can change. Say Dallas, not Dallas. I'm trying to say Dallas and Dialgas. If they manage to come back this week, instead of having a broken computer and defaulting, as you can see, get up to 2-3, that could put them basically at the California Clefas level, depending on if they win or lose their upcoming game. So that one can slip up a little bit. New England, I don't think can move up from 8th unless, say, Colorado or Chicago loses their next game, and the New England Patriots get a very strong showing of, say, 4 or 5 Pokemon surviving, or even 2 actually. If Chicago lost and New England managed to pick up a 2 surviving Pokemon net, they would take the 7th place slot from Chicago, putting them in last. So possibly New England can move up 1. I can't see it moving up 2, just because of everything. Because if the Colorado... Okay, so maybe they could move up to 6th, depending on if the Colorado Cloisters do poorly or if they do well, in part, and how well New England wins. If they win their game like 1-0, they're still going to probably be in 8th place because they'll have like a 0.15 survival rate or something, so not exactly exceptional. But let's go ahead and move towards the middle of the pack, the upper middle, and those would be the 4th in place position, which is actually more of the low-high part, and California Clefas. If they manage to net another win, they could see themselves be bumped up to 3rd, possibly. I'm not 100% sure about that. They might be stuck in 4th this week, but Cleveland actually still has the possibility to bump up to 2nd, possibly even, or 3rd, possibly even 2nd. So they are basically right on the tail of the top 2 teams, which are New York Blazekins, which, despite their loss this week, still has the best survival rate at 3.25, so 3.25 of their Pokemon are always surviving. That's pretty insane. And then the top team, which is my own right now, with a measly 2 survival rate. So if Nebraska loses this game, Nebraska could slip all the way down to 3rd. That would be a big issue for Nebraska, but it's possible that the team could climb back up. So looking at the teams, that's kind of where the positionings are, and so what games really do matter. Well, obviously Nebraska's game matters quite a bit. So New England Patriots, if they manage to win, they'll knock Nebraska down 1 to 2 pegs, which would be huge. But they'd also push themselves up, possibly by 1. Maybe, I don't think 2. No, I doubt 2, but at least 1. The other games of note are New York Blazekins against the Chicago Flock. If they lose, that would hurt them quite a bit on their momentum, and that would help Chicago. Then Cleveland is the other team of note, of course, which Cleveland's going up against the Dallas Dialgas in Week 5. So it's possible we could see them... did I get that right? Yeah, that sounds right. Okay, yeah, I got my eyes mixed up because I was reading Cleveland's who they were playing next wrong. Because, yeah, Cleveland and Cleveland. Anyway, if they get the default win, that would mean they would be in a slightly better situation. And the only reason why I'm saying default win against Dallas is because his computer is currently down. But if he gets that back up and gets to going, Cleveland could have a hard time. And if that happens, could push them down to even 4th, depending on how the Cleffas go. But that being said, I'd have to say the dark horse now is probably Cleveland, and then the second rocking would have to be the New York Blazekins, with Nebraska in a very tentative and nerve-wracking lead spot right now. It's one of those, this is really close, and so it's far from counting chicken season yet. They haven't hatched. No time to start counting. I don't even want to try to count the eggs yet. It's still early enough. But if Nebraska can manage to net the Week 5 win, get a very solid win over the New England Patriots, that would give Nebraska a little bit of a cushion ground, especially if New York does unfortunately lose. So this upcoming week could either make a nice little cushioning for Nebraska and make it a lot harder on New York and possibly Cleveland, or it could mean Nebraska drops right back down to where they were. So yeah, your top spots are still very, very tumultuous. Some of the lower slots not quite as likely, but still possible slow upwards climbs or downwards drops. So yeah, California, Cleffas maybe can move to 3rd, but it'll be tough for them. They need to get a couple more wins just to be confident that they'll slip up to 3rd. And maybe have Cleveland lose the game for Cleffas to take the 3rd slot. So maybe, I mean, we're still at that point where it's hard to really see where the season's going. But looking at it, we're seeing how it's shaping up, kind of, and our top teams are performing pretty well right now, while some of our teams are struggling at the moment. Some of them, unfortunately, just by default because of life issues, which I really, really am sorry about that, guys. Dallas, New England, I'm so sorry that you have those issues going on. But we'll keep on trucking. Anyway, that is kind of where we're sitting right now. Hopefully, the Week 5 will shape up to be quite an interesting week, and we might just see some upsets in the standings again. Not as critical this week as last week was, but still a very important week because key teams could lose a lot of momentum. And if that happens, it could be a very early demise for campaign hopeful of championship. Anyway, that is about all I have this week. We will probably have a Week 6 analysis and keep on going. Well, for now, I'll see you guys on the next IPL battle. Later.